Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family. Welcome to the Mental House. I am your host, Khadijah. All right, I'm gonna make this video as thorough and as honest as I possibly can, and it's regarding the riots that's taking place here in the Sherman Park area. All right, first of all, let me start off by saying this. All right, I understand the frustration because y'all don't understand what's happening here in Milwaukee. Milwaukee has a 32% unemployment rate. Nothing is live here except pimping, child trafficking, drug dealing, um, robbing, thievery, rape. I mean, that's pretty much what the order of the day is. Ain't no jobs. And uh, uh, it's a city on decline. Now, second of all, Milwaukee is known for corrupt police department. It's known for prostitution. We used to have holes in the rotunda down at the city hall, dating way back to the 1800s. So this is nothing new. Okay, this is a pimping town. Pimpin' Ken, my man, shout out. I grew up with Pimpin' Ken. This is what happens here. But with that being said, I don't condone none of that. But I want y'all to, the Department of Justice does not want to release the tape of Seville being shot. And Seville was the young man who was allegedly shot by the police officer, which was the catalyst to the riot. What you need to understand that the person that shot him, from my understanding, knew him, went to school with him, was in classes with him, and they didn't like each other. Secondly, the police's Twitter account has since been disabled because he has some very disfavorable things on his account, on his tweets that doesn't remind you of a law enforcement officer at all. He's talking about selling dope, talking about how he used to sell it, how he's got all these tats talking about how he'll gun somebody down and the nigga can't pull the trigger. I mean, all this stuff from a cop that supposedly is the one who allegedly shot my man, Seville. That's a problem with y'all. That's a problem, you guys. Especially when family and people are saying that, yeah, they knew each other in high school, they didn't like each other. Well, word on the street now is they saying that he stole a car. And there was a bunch of ammunition missing. And he gave the order for the young man to drop his pistol. And he didn't. I hope that is what happened. But because they're not releasing the body cam stuff like the little crooks and always do, it leads me to believe that it's a lie. Okay? It is hunting season on black folk. We are the prey. Okay? More specifically black men, but they kill children and they kill women. There is a hunting season on black people, and for all of you people that don't want to admit that, they don't want to say it, I'm saying it for you. The hell with you. That's what's up and that's what's going on. Alright? Sheriff David Clark. I wish to God somebody would do a doggone a follow-up and an investigation on Sheriff Clark, because David Clark is an allegedly wife beater. Allegedly he beats his wife and he's beat her before. This is allegedly. So I want to know if we can go and kind of turn his records inside out and find out what he's really about. Because while I voted for Sheriff Clark, and I told y'all that before, and yeah, I'm sorry for it. I see him now as being a total distraction. I see him now as being a total buffoon, especially when I saw him when Donald Trump got off the plane and he was down there sucking on the man's kneecaps. I mean, he won't get reelected again. Unless he won't get reelected by the city of Milwaukee, that's for sure. If he gets elected again, it's going to be from the outskirts, and them people own them all them other surrounding counties, which is probably what he wants anyway. They want a nigga to represent the sheriff department. They won't have a black mayor Never had a black mayor in the history of Milwaukee. We had an interim mayor for a few days. Then you had the fiasco with Tom Barrett, who promised that he would never run for mayor when the black mayor ran. But then when he lost his Senate bill, he turned around with his dishonest ass and ran for mayor and then won. Because these people in this town is just like being in some kind of backwater hillbilly Twilight Zone. I am so anxious. I'm sorry, Granny a little hot right now. Granny about to calm down, okay? Granny gonna calm down. Granny gonna calm down right now. I'm very anxious and very curious to find out. The ACLU has already made a suggestion that they release the footage. That they release the footage from the shooting. Because I have a very serious problem with these two individuals knowing each other, going to school with one another, and not being particularly fond of one another. That to me right there is the biggest red flag. If his partner had shot him, I'd have felt better. But the fact that he shot him, the fact that the one that shot him, and he's got a history with this individual, and from the looks of his Twitter account, he's a loose cannon. He had to spend 90 after his probation. They gave him 3.5 more months of probation. What was the reason behind that? What did you see about this officer that you not put him on the streets after his probation period was over with? There is a lot of unanswered questions going on here. And see, before y'all start jumping out and attacking these young people who don't have nothing. They don't have anything to aspire to. They don't have anything to do. They don't have any jobs. We haven't created anything for them, so we haven't employed our young people. And so what's going on is you have an underclass that is just out here. That is just out here. And it's sad what's going on in Milwaukee right now. And nobody cared until this incident happened right now. And then lastly, I don't condone them burning up Sherman. Let's get that straight. Because y'all fools could have blew up everybody on Sherman Boulevard. All the houses on Sherman. You blew up a freaking gas station with propane and gas. What is wrong with y'all? You're not thinking. And see, that right there is a big problem. That's why they're going to round your black behinds up and put you on the concentration camp. All of us. With this type of behavior, this is what you can kind of expect. Because what I'm saying is, it's wilding out. It's what we call wilding out. Being angry and upset is one thing. Blowing up a gas station that's full of homes is another. Not only that, they setting houses on fire, empty houses. You're doing the stuff in your own neighborhood. You almost burnt my friend's house down. Okay. Over here on 50th and Clark, which was a few blocks off of Sherman, not directly in the Sherman vicinity. These young kids then went and set blaze to the house so we can burn up the house next door. And we live in little communities that are like matchboxes, so the houses are very close together. These are old Polish built homes, and a lot of them there isn't but 2 or 3 inches in the gangway from one house to the next. And if a fire sits on one house, then for sure you can almost rest assured that the next door neighbor house is going to burn, because they're too close together. They sit entirely too close together for one house not to be affected if there's a fire. Okay? Now, with that being said, I want the young people to think. I know it's rough right now. And as far as these Milwaukee police, they can't be trusted. Listen, Milwaukee has one of the most corrupt police departments in the United States of America. I know y'all think New York City is bad. We had Frank Jude here, where he went to a party with 2 white chicks and 2 off-duty police officers home, and they beat that man so bad, took ink pens and stuck it through his ears, took knives and stuck it up his rectum. Do you know that every one of those officers were acquitted? And it wasn't until Michael McGee pressed federal charge. That's why I love that brother so much. that they had to press federal charges and bring the federal government in on these damn officers so they could finally go to jail. And come to find out that a couple of them had been involved in multiple shootings, jumping up on the roofs of cars and shooting through the glass of people. Y'all don't know about these police. These police ride up and down the street, rob dope dealers, take their money. Okay? Let me tell you something. I might still have some literature sitting around here back in the day when I worked very hard to get an officer off the street by the name of Officer Lux, what we call Blondie, who used to go around raping, robbing all of the drug dealers. He used to go around robbing them all, raping the women. He had to be paid off. And this right here, I don't know if y'all can see that. See that? This is an old. This thing is older than some of y'all out there. This thing is at least 20 years old, at least. And what it was is we had behind this. This is only the first page, but behind it we had a picture of Officer Lutz, what he looked like, because I wanted, and Dr. Brown, what we wanted is for people to be able to identify the officer by face. We wanted to plaster his face up all across the city, so when you saw this man, you would be afraid. We wanted the children to say, Mama, look, there go Officer Lutz. Look, Mama, there go Blondie. As if he was a monster in the community. And this was warning. Law and order may be hazardous to your health. Stop the police. Formal legal notice under the United States Constitution per ACLU. To law enforcement, my name, my address, my date of birth. I do not wish to answer any questions without first speaking to an attorney. I do not consent to any search whatsoever, including but not limited to a search of my home, my car, my baggage, or my person. I do not consent to being in a lineup or a show up or in any display of any type. I do not and will not waive my constitutional right whatsoever. Alright? We wanted you to fill in this, and what we were giving people at that time was stay calm. Keep your hands where the police can see them. Don't argue, complain, badmouth, or resist arrest. Even if the officer is unreasonable, it will only make your situation worse. Hand them this rights card above and otherwise say, I have nothing to say. I have actually used that. So for a lot of y'all that's on my page asking what I do and what work I put in, half of y'all can't even hold my resume with your damn jock strap. Okay? I'm 57 years old. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I'm a second generation of a liberationist. This ain't nothing new. Okay? I spent my life, half my life dealing with this. I left the music business to deal with this. Okay? Because all we do is sing and dance and entertain white folks, but the realization is this. We got people dying every day. Every day. For reasons that are so unjust, unbefitting. And if you are, I promise that whenever I use my talents from this point on, I only use it for the upliftment of people. I only use it to tell the truth. Okay? Because I'm not out here trying to let music reflect something that is not a reality. Whatever I do reflects the reality that I live in. And this is one of them. Warning to stop the police in my area have been corrupt for a long time. And I'm sure this is most every department across the United States of America. The police departments evolved from the slave catchers. So the night patrollers and the slave catchers, the same ideology they had is the same ideology the police department and the police officers have, whether they are black or white. Okay? We also told them, remember, anything you can say will be held against you, even if the officers have not read you your Miranda rights. Remember, police badge and numbers, and patrol car numbers. If not in custody, write down everything that happened ASAP. Try to find witnesses, get their names and phone numbers. If you are injured, seek medical attention, but also get photographs of the injuries ASAP. If you are arrested, ask for a lawyer immediately. And then we had what to do when stopped on the streets. You do not have to answer the police questions, but you must show a license, registration, and insurance when stopped in your car. In other situations, you can't legally be arrested for refusing to identify yourself to an officer. Now, this right here is a mantra really we all should be living by. And let me show that to you again. This document right here, which had another part to it that I can't find right now, is over 20 years old. And this was done in direct relation to an officer harassing, beating, robbing, and raping, and sticking up drug dealers. Planting guns in individuals' hands. My next door neighbor, Daniel Bell, was killed by the police when I was a little girl. My next door neighbor's brother, which name was Daniel Bell, is a famous case here, was killed by the police. The police planted a knife in his hand, and the only reason the police got caught 30 years later was because the partner couldn't take it, and it weighed on his conscience to the point where he had to tell. And guess what? His sister, the Daniel Bell sister, kept saying, my brother didn't do that because my brother is left-handed. These police didn't know that, and they planted the knife in the right hand. So that wasn't enough to open up an investigation back then. What opened up the investigation was the police coming forward and saying, listen, we planted that in that man's hand. I don't have nothing to say about, too much good to say about the police department of Milwaukee. Yes, I come from a family of law enforcement. Yes, I have a brother that was a police officer and rose up the ranks. Yes, but I'm also a black woman, a black aunt, a black mother, a black sister, and a black friend. And as a woman, I've seen too many things happen unjustly to young black folk that wouldn't dare happen to their white counterparts. If the white person sees a young a boy rolling down the street in the BMW drop top, the first thing he's going to say to himself is, wow, some little white rich kid. That's a look at him. He's a privileged kid. He's not going to pull that kid over and search his car, and more than likely he's going to have the dope. But if they see a black person ride down that same identical car, right away they're going to think drug dealer. Not that his parents could be successful or part of a Jack and Jill or a Boulay or just a successful corporate employer or employer sponsor. Oh no, black people can't operate in that kind of capacity. It must be a drug dealer and a thug. So I'm going to pull him over accordingly. That's what happens here on a daily, on the regular. And it's absolutely sickening. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And what I'm saying is, if we don't get a grip on this, this is going to be happening a lot more, not just in Milwaukee, but all across the country. And more specifically, places that are like Milwaukee. Places that have been abandoned by the federal government. Places that have been abandoned by the state. Places that have been abandoned pretty much by the society at whole, as long as they got us segregated in these zip codes. They have black people stretched out in 3 or 4 zip codes, and that's where we live. The majority of us are clammed into 2 or 3 zip codes, and that's about it. And that is not the ingredients for a healthy community or a healthy society. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. I had to get that off my chest. I'm very angry about this situation that's going on, because it's got more than one side to it. It's got a lot of sides to it. It's got a lot of bends and twists and turns to it. And when I find out the next bit of information, I'm definitely going to come back and bring it to y'all. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you being out there, and I'll see you next time in the Mental House. Bye-bye.